patents internationally? Enough? Too much? Do you file in other countries? Why don't you file? Why? Money. How many people here are listed on a patent as an inventor? Anybody? Okay, some on the side, undoubtedly. We have a really bad catch-22, folks. And that is that if you want international patent protection, you already have to have money in the bank. And how many innovators, how many startups have hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend on patent attorneys? How many government tech transfer offices have millions of dollars to spend on foreign patent applications? We have about 400 or 500 patents at the U.S. Army Medical Research and Material Command, Fort Detrick. Our international patent bill is killing us. So I have a solution, or should I say, I have a dream. This has never been done before, and I really want people in the audience to be critics. The first time I presented this to anybody seriously, somebody said, where's the risk analysis? And I'm like, oh man, how am I ever going to get this through the bureaucracy? But our tech transfer office up at Fort Detrick thinks that there is a better way for us to commercialize technology. And I'll give you the example I always give when we teach our scientists about patents and licensing. You may be brilliant. You may have the cure for cancer. But if the only thing you do is go out and publish it, what company in their right mind is going to spend $1 billion going through the FDA for approval if you have no patent? And it's immoral, in my view, for an inventor to say, screw the patents, I need my publications for tenure, and then the people around them who have cancer die. So to me, it's actually a moral question. Well, the US is only about 1/3 of the biomedical market of the world. Only is a nice place to be. But what company wants to license a new drug or therapeutic that has to go through the FDA if they only have a patent in the United States? Now, I appreciate, Deborah, you've got more engineering technology. The cost of getting our technology through regulatory is so high that monopoly pricing is a necessity if we ever want to see it happen. The Zika vaccine is a good example of that. So today what I'd like to do is talk about the International Patent Consortia. This is theoretical. We have 2 countries that are interested in it, and what I want you guys to do is be critics. Come up afterwards or in the Q&A section and say, Barry, you're nuts. You could never make this happen because of whatever reason you want to give me. And I hope I can get you there. So, no surprise, licensees love big patent portfolios that they don't pay for. And they want us to pay for all those foreign filings. That's not going to happen. So here's the solution, as simple as this. What if we didn't start ourselves, but help somebody else start consortia in countries around the world that have biomedical markets, meaning they can afford to pay for it. And the consortium overseas pays the patent expenses in their country in exchange for an exclusive marketing right in their country. That's it. I'm done. Okay. Give you a little more detail. This is the whole idea. Other people's money. We call it crowdfunding. But it's actually more than that, because I think we have tremendous benefit to be had in addition to the financial. 150,000, this is old data because lawyers don't like to tell you what their rates really are. But it costs a lot of money to get foreign patent protection. Here's how the IPC would work. Inventor discloses, we do our market assessment, we take it to an invention evaluation committee, we file a provisional patent, and then we offer it to the consortium. So let's say it's in Japan, and they have a dozen people in their consortium, and let's say they give me a thumbs up, they like it. Then they pay for the patent in Japan. We rarely file patents in Japan. Why? Really expensive to translate a patent into Japanese. So until there's a universal Earth patent, which isn't a bad proposal either, we have to do something, not throw it in the trash can every single month. Let's say they say no, and the IPC in Korea, China, Brazil, and India, let's say they all say no. Then maybe I shouldn't be even filing in the US. Maybe I've just crowdsourced, from the wisdom of the crowd, commercial potential of 0. That's informative, because we have technologies over so many different arenas, there's no way for Dave Humphrey back there to know it all. Right? Okay, so we need the power of the crowd. Then we file the PCT, and we let that consortium pick up the cost in Korea, Japan, etc. And this is the more granular version of that. What's important in this slide is that the US licensee is going to get worldwide manufacturing rights. Otherwise, I'll get fired by Congress, right? Shifting manufacturing overseas, even if it would make sense. I was amazed at the time that we did a deal that nobody made tents in the United States years ago. Maybe somebody's since done it. But our small US business preference means we have a manufacturer in the US who doesn't have enough money in the bank to pay the foreign patents, doesn't have a sales force worldwide, and here I am giving them a bill of $200,000 worth of back patent expenses. They don't want to do those kinds of deals with us. You know what they say? We only want US rights. But they're lying. They actually want worldwide rights, but they can't afford it. So we have this concept of bifurcated licensing. The US manufacturer would make it and wholesale it to the distributor in Japan. We'd get a piece of the action on royalties from both. And the IPC basically serves as our agent. In the biotech field, you would normally have agency agreements with third parties who are out there shopping your technology for sub-licensees. It's the same general concept. And what are the odds that a small US business doesn't need more money from, let's say, Seiko, Samsung, somebody who has enough money to build them a new factory or joint venture with them for production overseas, or just buys them out? We went to the State Department. They have some skin in this game because USAID and programs like that are attempts to really help US manufactured goods get overseas. We went to Department of Commerce, and they said to us, we want patents to be respected worldwide. Well, think of it this way. What are the odds that the Department of Justice will enforce a US Army patent in Japan against a Japanese company? Number one, DOJ runs the other way. Number two, what are the odds the court in Japan would say, oh, yeah, we're going to let the Department of Justice win this case? Close to 0. But what are the odds that the IPC in Japan, if it has in its membership the government of Japan, the trade organizations and the biomedical devices of Japan, the corporate venture capital groups of Japan, if they've paid money for that patent to be prosecuted and maintained, and they have an infringer in country, what are the odds that their enforcement could have success? Well, better than what we're doing today. Maybe not great, but certainly better than zero. So we don't start the IPCs. We try to find people at conferences like this who want to try this out. And the beauty of it is, I'm not standing up a program, I'm just cutting a license. We have the legal authority to license somebody. Somebody complained to me, Barry, you can't have IPCs if you don't ask for millions of dollars from the Department of the Army to stand this up. And what can I tell you? I've always used other people's money, especially my 5 previous wives. How do you not create a program around something that's as simple as this? Well, you don't. You go and find other people who are willing to do the work in their country to create groups. Some countries don't have angel capital. Some countries don't have venture capital. Some countries are nationalized health services. Where the people come from is up to them, not me. But I like to have people in consortium that want to make money, because quite honestly, this is a way for other people to make money. And as much as I have spent most of my career helping other people make money, some of this money comes back to the benefit of the warfighter, because it goes back into the research and development of MRMC and allows us to field products that we might not have a program of record for when it starts. So other people's money matters. So here's a challenge for Ron Marchessault standing back there. What country, Ron, would you choose to do your first IPC in? South Korea. Take a look at South Korea on here. They're number 11. They file a huge number of patents for a little country. Their GDP isn't that large, but yet they are IP maniacs. I'm sure Samsung and companies like that appreciate the positive moniker. China, hard to enforce, but heck of a big economy. Japan, lots of patents and a big economy. So you could see that filing patents in Canada, like we usually do, because there's no translation cost, it's really stupid. There are more people in Italy than in Canada, but we almost never file in Italy. There's got to be more bang for the buck, more logic to our foreign patent filing strategy, and where we ultimately go with the IPC itself. We have to worry about the politics of this. I can't do my first IPC in China these days. Some countries can't afford or don't even have a market for, like in Scandinavia, Ebola just isn't a big problem. Is there an addressable market that's worth going after? Well, some of our technologies they'll vote on, and other technologies we won't even send to certain countries. And there are some countries that just don't have patents on things like software or methods of treatment in the human space. So enforceability will matter. Initially, we're going to offer up our new inventions as they're coming out, because that's the fresh stuff. That's the good risk red meat. But you know what? We've got a whole slew of technology that's also potentially IPCable. Some of it even with no patent. And this is an extension of the IPC concept, which would be, let's say we have a good, healthy business relationship with a group in South Korea or Japan, and they say, what else do you have for me to sell? Even if there's no patent and they can get it from our US manufacturer, why not? I actually went to our licensees and I said, would you be willing to give up the rights in South Korea and just wholesale to them? To have somebody else in South Korea, like Samsung, sell it for you? And would they say, yeah. They'll make a lot more money because they don't have to create a sales force in every country of the world. They can't. They don't have the money in the bank to hire people. So our existing licensees can also participate in the IPC. Of course, people have come up with other suggestions like, hey, can you take our technology and put it into the IPC? So we would expand this beyond MRMC. We would invite in the NIH, CDC, but even universities in the US have said, can we get in on an IPC? It's got to be topical. In the beginning, we'll call it biomedical IPC, but in the end, maybe it'll just be therapeutics and vaccines and a separate IPC for medical devices. Because the people with the money out there, they tend to be a little bit more specialized than biomed generically. DOE is interested in creating an IPC, and their world is even more diverse than ours. So how many IPCs? I don't know. But we're going to try it broadly with biomed, probably with South Korea first. And what we need to know is what we don't know. This is the 7-step summary of it. It's sort of my condensation of everything I just said. But I need your help. Am I crazy? Will this work? Why won't it work? So with that, I'm going to end and ask for questions. Thank you. So the question was how to deal with companies that, in essence, are just trying to extend their patent pricing for a longer period of time, and also how to deal with countries that have manufacturing capacity that they want to utilize. Well, on the first question, the IP that we license may be original new molecule, or it may be an improvement to their current molecule. We use not evergreen concept, but improvement concepts all the time when we commercialize, because think about it, a vaccine's a vaccine's a vaccine. So you modify it genetically and now it's twice as effective. You didn't invent the concept, but you got a product that's now going to be out there for another 20 years of monopoly pricing because it saves somebody's life better than what was there. Same with bandages. They've been around for a few thousand years, but the next better bandage is still going to get 20 years of patent protection. The manufacturing base overseas makes great sense to make it and sell it overseas. But we as the US government do want to encourage the manufacture in the US. Is it going to be the most cost effective? Well, the solution is simple. They buy the US company. That happens. As we've seen, tariffs, taxes, regulatory concerns, all that stuff will influence whether or not it's just the cost of production that drives outsourcing overseas, or whether or not there are other benefits and requirements by law. Other question?